Welcome to Psychology Today. I'm your host, Wayne Hathaway. Thank you for watching our show. Our show is about bicycling in general and bicycle safety specifically. I hope Psychology Today helps inspire you to ride a bike and helps you to be mindful of safety. We try to celebrate those in our community that incorporate bicycling into career choices or entrepreneurial endeavors and strive to encourage others to ride or support cycling and bike safety. Our producer, Northwest Bicycle Safety Council, is an organization that promotes safety and harmony between cyclists and works to strengthen our community and your families through cycling-related programs and events. 2018 found our volunteers placing free helmets on hundreds of local heads at various cycling-related events. Learn more at our website. And a quick thank you to our capable crew behind the scenes. These are volunteers who make our show possible. And we have a team, We Endure, here with us to share some of their experiences. So welcome, all of you. And so I'm going to start by reading this a little bit, and I want to thank people for joining us, because this is a show that I was really excited about, and the reason is we have these people joining us from a program called Empower DI, and I'm excited about it because we have young riders here today. And so if you're watching or you watch this on rerun, I really encourage you to bring potential riders to listen to this story. So the way I want to start this is I'm going to do an introduction. So I'm going to introduce myself to you, and then we'll have Brian go, and we'll have Rachel go. And I'm going to tell you my name and how old I am and how long I've been riding. So my name is Wayne Hathaway. And I'm 46, and I started riding a bike way back when I was about 8 years old, and then I stopped at 16. So I had about 8 years there, and then I started back up about 14 years ago, and never looked back once I started up again. So Brian, why don't you?
Sure. My name is Brian Laakso, and Wayne, you're just a child. I'm 55, and my cycling background goes back all the way to first grade. And I took a big break as well, but I started up again for physical exercise probably about 20 years ago. Yeah, so I've been cycling pretty consistently for 20 years. Yeah.
All right.
Hi, my name is Rachel Saathoff. I am 33 years old, and I, again, learned when I was a kid. I learned when I was 5 years old. My parents were building their house, and our home builder actually taught me how to ride a two-wheel bike, which was fun. Lived on a hill, so didn't do a ton of riding when I was a kid, and then started about 3 years ago on my first road bike.
All right.
Hi, my name is Ben Gillette, and I am in 8th grade, am about 14 years old, and I first learned to ride a bike when I was probably, I want to say 4 or 5 in preschool, and my dad taught me to ride an old mountain bike we had just in our old cul-de-sac by our old house, and yeah, that's how I learned to ride.
I'm Arjun, and I learned how to ride a bike when I was in kindergarten, and I am 11 years old.
That's great. Thank you. So I want to start with you, Rachel. Can you share a little bit about this program that they've been participating in?
Yeah, so last year I've been friends with Arjun's family for a year or so, and last year I was riding a lot and training a lot for events, and I did Reach the Beach. It was one of the events that I did, and Arjun kind of was watching me do these events, and he was super excited about it. And I took him on one of the monster cookie ride because, you get cookies at every stop, and I thought that would be a fun kids ride, and he ate way too many cookies, and I told him, don't tell your mom how many cookies you just ate on this ride. But she doesn't know, can't hurt her. He aspired to do Reach the Beach this year, and I was like, all right, let's look for a road bike for you, and you can ride a little bit this year and see what happens next year. And the spring came, and he was still interested in cycling and riding, and Reach the Beach is one of my first big events for the year. And I said, if you can raise the money, the fundraising money, and dedicate your time to the training, let's do it. And I had heard of a lot of neighbors that were interested, that had kids that wanted to ride as well, and I figured there had to be other kids like Arjun that were interested in doing big kind of endurance rides. So I kind of put it out to the community, and we had a bunch of families show up to an info night, and 3 families stuck, and that's what we've been doing. So we've been training since March.
Very neat. And how did you come to join?
Well, I had the time, so I've got all this time. I'm like, what would I want to do with that time? And because I care so much about our community that I live in, I wanted to do something that would help that community grow to be, better and safer. And the best way to do that is just to get out there and participate. I knew Rachel from leadership seminars that I've partaken with her in the past, and so she knew I cycled, and she's like, "Hey, would you want to be the what did you call that? There's a name for it."
My sweep.
My sweep. That's it. I'm like, "Oh, what does that mean?" She's like, "Well, you need to catch up with the kids that'll be faster, drop back with the kids that'll be slower, make sure everybody stays in between." I'm like, "That sounds like a challenge. That sounds like fun." So if we can pass on some skills and knowledge to the kids in the community, make them safer out there, I was all for it.
I'm a little bit of a pusher personality.
Yeah, I never noticed that.
Yeah. Last summer I kept asking Brian when he was going to ride with me. And he was like, "Yeah, eventually."
Yeah.
And then now he rides every weekend with us.
I think I had an
Just been
excuse
super
every
fun.
weekend.
Yeah.
Kind of like someone else we know.
So before, when you joined this biking, Ben, did you already know what you were getting yourself into? Did you know what the final goal would be for the ride?
So I had just gotten a road bike because I was starting to bike to school, and I had an old mountain bike, and I was like, well, hey, I want to upgrade my bike because it's much easier to ride to school on a road bike. It's probably 4 miles, 8 miles round trip every day. So I was kind of interested in just a little bit, watching videos online about watching road biking, and I had heard about Reach the Beach because some of my teachers and actually my doctor had been doing it too. And I remember I was looking through the neighborhood website, and I saw Rachel's post about doing Reach the Beach, and I was really interested because I had always thought about doing that in the past. And so we reached out because I really wanted to do that, and that's kind of how it all started. And yeah, I was just really interested in sort of trying out, just doing a big, fun community ride.
Before, so Arjun, before you had decided you were going to do this Reach the Beach, what had been your longest ride before that?
Well, it was probably my second Monster Cookie ride, which was 62 miles, which is metric century. I felt pretty good. I felt like I was able to take on the challenge of 72 miles. Just 10 miles extra, I felt ready for it.
But how did you get up to 62 miles? You didn't start there, right?
One cookie at a time.
I love it.
Yeah, so the last year I did 37 miles, so I took actually a really long break from biking. And then Rachel called back, and then she's just like, well, I'm starting a team full of really interested bikers, and I'm like, sure, I really like biking, and I'll join. So every single week we kept on building our endurance, adding up more miles, and eventually I was able to get to 62 miles.
How about as far as rules of the road and safety? Did you already have some experience with that before you started doing?
Yeah, Rachel taught me hand signals even before my 37-mile ride. So she taught me hand signals, how to signal debris, which side of the road to stay on, how to pass someone inside, not outside. So I had a pretty good general knowledge of how to stay safe on the road.
Was it hard? You want to pass the mic to Ben? Was it hard to actually use these rules of the road initially, or did it come second nature to you?
No, for me it was pretty second nature, especially because I've been like starting to bike to school, and I was definitely really interested about it because I mean it was something like commuting on the road, and I was really interested in sort of learning the hand signals. So on the first ride, it was pretty easy to catch on actually, and we have like different signals for debris and slowing and stopping, and we're reminded come on, keep using your hand signals, we got it. And but yeah, it's sort of fun almost when you're on the ride. It's like trying to signal everybody, but yeah, it's in a way it's a game you can play. But yeah.
Ben's probably our most vocal rider, which is really awesome. Like some of us, even the adults, sometimes forget. And sometimes some of us only point. So I always encourage people to do both, like point and, vocalize it in case somebody's not looking. But he's done a really great job catching on and being vocal and, making everybody accountable to it. And oftentimes, I'm up in front and I can't always see behind him because he's tall. So I'm like, is everybody there? And he's like, yeah, or no. Okay, thanks.
How was it riding in the group? How about you, Brian?
It's been fun. Our group have all kind of made it more fun by giving each other nicknames. We get out so often that with our experiences, sometimes your nicknames will grow, so people get new nicknames each ride, but for the most part they stay the same. But as we'll call out stuff, as we all ride together, like we want to get in a pace line, so we've explained what that looks like and how to be safe in the pace line, and there might have been a couple tires touched or a couple falls, but that's when doesn't that happen, right? Everybody's going to fall at least once while they're cycling, but we'll drop out. Somebody's got to lead. Somebody can't always be the windbreaker, although he makes a great windbreaker. Ben led our ride 2 days ago and did a fantastic job. It was a route that he picked out. It was 40 miles, and it was a beautiful, excellent job. Just seeing these kids pick up all of the hand signals and all the safety tips and just follow them, see them trying is really rewarding.
Yeah, I was going to the ride we had a while ago. Yeah, that was really awesome, and it's really fun to be able to like choose the ride we're doing, and I think it's awesome that, especially just choosing a ride to do, it's really fun. I really like, the one we did out to Banks was really cool because all the scenery was really great, and going out there is like going through the fields. It's really nice too.
So are you guys involved when you're picking what the route's going to be for the upcoming ride?
Yeah, we are. That's one of the things that's really fun about this group, I think, and like Rachel organizing it, is just that you're so involved in doing everything. It's really fun. It's sort of our team. It's really hey, what do you guys want to do? And it's, let's talk about it. What rides do we want to do? And it's a really fun thing. We get to lead rides. Like my ride was last weekend, and we have Arjun scheduled for I think probably a few weekends from now, 2 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. And it's really fun because you just get to choose what you do, and it's really customized to what we know how to do. So
now, what was your nickname again?
It was Smalls.
And how did you come up with that? Did you get to pick it yourself?
Look at him, Wayne.
I know that nickname, by the way.
Yeah, Troy is very creative.
I think I actually chose that one.
Yeah.
From the Sandlot.
Yeah, this team is really fun together. It plays to our strengths, and it also works on our weaknesses. It helps us pick our rides. Like, we have like different strengths. Like, Sam is really good at uphills. Ben is really good at like keeping a steady pace. I'm really good at flats. And like, we're making our own rides. We get to pick our own rides. So this plays to each and every one of our strengths. So it keeps on helping us work on our weaknesses that we're not so good at. So it helps us build strength on those.
Did you get your turn up at the front of the pace line?
No, not yet.
No, not yet? Soon, though?
Yeah, soon.
Well, you did for a little while on that ride coming back from the bridges where we were going down Marine.
Yeah, I think it was
on the trail there. Yeah.
Reach the bridge, yeah.
No, not Reach Beach. We were going down the Columbia River near Marine Drive, and all of a sudden you just took off and went out. You decided to lead for a while. You were going really fast, remember?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just took off.
Way better to be in the back of the
Yeah.
pace line, Wayne, because then you just tuck in and
Yeah.
They just draft all the way.
draft all the way.
Yeah. So, how did the two of you develop how, like, you were going to go from where you were at as a beginning team out to Reach the Beach? Did you spend a lot of time figuring that out, or did it just kind of...
No,
Right.
I think it's really funny. Like when we started the team and we had the info night, we had a bunch of families there, and there were families like freaking out, like, my kid can't ride that much, like, that's crazy, they're just kids. And I was like, this little dude, he's fine, he rode like 35 miles, what's another 20 or so? I was like, he's got this. That was like the least of my concerns.
Right.
But I think it really has to do with like the belief that you instill as adults into the kids, that they believe that they can do it as well. And what you believe you'll achieve, and they did a really good job.
Yep. I mean, it's all up to Rachel. Give her all the credit. I just show up and ride because I enjoy riding.
Oh, stop.
But it is about, though, checking in with them all the time, like, how are you feeling, how are your legs, what's your endurance like, did you bring something to eat to keep your energy up, but gauging where they started, and like, yeah, they can do it, based on that. So I think that was the encouragement. And we did start something relatively flat and short, and we just added distance each time and added some hills, Troy.
Well, yeah, because I had to get in shape too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Right. But it was monitoring them the whole way, and that kind of helped motivate us, like, yeah, they can do this. Yeah.
Troy made us work.
Yeah.
Troy's another adult that joins in on, and
Oh,
he,
okay.
yeah, so you'll hear that name every now and then. Yeah.
His nickname's Lumberjack.
Yep.
Did you find that, did you have other of the riders that needed some encouragement? Were you like, able to support each other as a team if it started to get hard?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, it is really fun because a lot of it is that, I mean, you're obviously getting to go out every once in a while, and you have that encouragement, we go out and ride, but it's also really easy going. So you have, we can get out, and it's just whatever anybody needs. So, if somebody's leg's hurting, then we can take it slow for one day. That's just how it works. Like, one day my bike was, the chain was jumping a bit, and I couldn't really go up hills. So, we just had to turn around and do a little less of the ride that day. But, that's just how it works out sometimes. So,
Right.
Yeah, whatever happens flies. It's really cool.
Did you guys ever find it hard to motivate the group, or were you able to find ways to keep it fun?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Well, I'm checking with them after you talk to see if you are telling the truth.
Food.
Yeah.
Food,
I think,
Barbecues.
yeah. I think
barbecues.
part of it is also just each rider is so different. So just like running or any other sport, you have to figure out what works with each kid, and trying to figure out that puzzle of like, what's that missing piece. Like, for example, he doesn't weigh that much and doesn't have much body fat on him. So when we go on a 40-mile ride, he gets tired towards the end. So why does he get tired? Is it because it's too hot? Does he not have enough water? Does he need more food? And then we're like, oh, well, usually on an organized ride, we feed him every 15 miles. Let's feed him every 15 miles, and just finding just playing that game of figuring out what works best for each person, even myself.
How did you figure out what food you would bring with you?
Well, first, what we thought was water. So my mom, she made me drink like 3 water bottles a day. Well, she tried to make me 3. I got at least 2 water bottles a day, but still, last week's ride, still kept on getting tired towards the end. So then we came up with a new concept that I was like not having enough carbs inside my body to keep myself going on for the rest of the ride. So we have a new plan that before the ride I eat lots of carbs the night before for dinner, and that would maybe help my performance on the ride the next day.
With the water, was it drinking 3 bottles of water every day?
Every day.
Yeah. That's not easy.
No, he's not.
I had to force myself to carry around a water bottle to do that.
A lot of trips to the bathroom too.
Oh yes.
How about you, Ben? Was food a difficult thing to figure out for you, or was it easy?
I mean, me and my family had done the Banks of Vernonia Trail a bunch when I was little, and we would definitely, I remember my parents would bring like little energy gel things you get, and that was always something that you kind of thought of as like, oh, you need food. I mean, it kind of made sense. I mean, you need something to keep you going while you're out there, because I mean, it's a long ride. You have to have some sustenance while you're going, and in regards to water, I actually have like this really big, like, water bottle. I found this, I think it's called a loony bin that I put on my bike, and it's this massive water bottle holder. I have like a 40-ounce big water bottle tank, hydro flask thing, and I carry around a bunch of water in that, and I mean, I always have a bunch extra. I mean, water's never been, I always get really thirsty on rides, so it's nice to have a little extra.
And were you carrying extras for the group in case?
We reached the beach. I got the nickname Sherpa because I was carrying everybody's gear and some extra. I don't think I had anybody's water bottle, but jackets, coats, some food, suntan lotion, you name it. So yes, I volunteered to do that as well.
And so what weekend was Reach the Beach? Do you remember?
It was May 18th.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
And did you guys reach the beach?
Yep, barely. But
Barely.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked it. It was.
Can we? So there's some pictures that Rachel shared, and so we'll put them up there as you're talking about it.
Yeah.
But so it was hard.
Yeah, it was. It was definitely, a lot of it's just the mindset you're in. So, I mean, if you know you're going for 72 miles, then like, okay, we're halfway there or a quarter way there. I mean, it's like, if you get to the end of a 60-mile bike ride, it's not like anybody's going like, hey, you got another 12 miles.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, it's the start of Reach the Beach, I think. We expected it to be cold and rainy, but it was actually really, really great weather on the way
We're a
there.
very blue team in that picture.
Yeah, I guess.
So, and that's you, and then
Our lumberjacks on
Oh,
the
yes,
far.
there's Troy.
That's Troy.
Yeah,
Okay.
the lumberjack.
Y'all look like a bunch of blueberries.
Yeah,
So
there was
what-
a 90% chance rain that day, and it never rained on us until we were leaving.
Until like
Yeah.
3 o'clock.
Right.
Where it started pouring.
And then when you hit the end, how did that feel?
It felt really good to reach the end because, I mean, this was a really big goal for us. I mean, it felt really inspiring to get through the whole bike ride. And, yeah, it was really fun. And, yeah.
When we reached the finish line, Arjun's dad was there. Like, a lot of the parents were there, but Arjun's dad was there. And he is probably the most happy, most positive, optimistic, facial expressing person ever. But when we rolled through that finish line, I've never seen a happier, more proud dad than him. I was like,
cool.
did you see that, Dad? He is straight up happy.
So cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, towards the end of that ride, it was really fun. I mean, it's also really energizing when you do finish the ride. It's really awesome because, I mean, you have the finish line, there's the big, like, blow-up sign, there's the guys like, you have reached the beach. It's definitely fun. It's like you biked to the coast. I mean, it's fun to think about. Like, you look at it on the map and you're like, yeah, I biked that far. And going, like, back in the car is like, yeah, this is really cool that, I was able to do that on a bike, and it's really awesome feeling to be able to do that. And yeah, I definitely remember getting there at the very end. It was really, really cool.
How, on the drive home, were people tired?
I didn't ride home with them. I rode home with Brian and Lumberjack, and they just talked the whole time. They weren't tired at all.
How about you?
I was
guys?
tired.
I wasn't tired at all. I went shopping at Woodburn.
That's too funny. How about you? Were you tired?
I think I slept most of the car ride home. Yeah,
Did you
I was
really?
pretty done. We had we had just gotten there, and there was they have this huge buffet down at Pelican Brewing, just down by Pacific City.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had this huge buffet where everybody's going through, and I got some of the food. We were lying just in the sand. I was just kind of dead tired by the end of that. Like, it was fun. You, like, all the adrenaline like wears off. You're like, can I just, like, move a mattress here in the sand or something?
Yes, amen. That's all I am too.
So, I mean, we were like, I was kind of like, yeah, let's head in the car and get going home. And it was like raining all the way back. We saw a few riders out as we were driving home. We were like, oh no, we're so sorry. But yeah, I was pretty tired by the end after all that adrenaline wears off.
Where did that race start at?
We did the 72-mile from Carlton, which is, I think.
But you can start in Beaverton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Century 100-mile.
Yeah. Next year.
Yeah.
That's us.
How did you guys feel?
After the ride?
Yeah.
Oh, I
about
was
this.
fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
How about
I was super proud.
Super
at
proud,
the end.
yeah.
Like, I think that's what we just spent most of our time kind of talking about, is just what a wild accomplishment it was. You know, Ben was a little bit late coming to the game for us. I don't think he started till like April-ish, maybe even mid-April for us. And we literally like took him on one ride to the Tulip Festival, and then we're like, great, we're gonna ride a metric century. You want to come? Oh, and then by the way, a couple weekends after that, we're gonna ride 72 miles. You ready? And so, you know, just super impressed and super proud. Like this one, Arjun, he didn't even have cleats, like clip-in pedals when he rode 72 miles. And so for me, I was like, I wouldn't do that. Like that would have been very, very hard for me to do. And so like that's impressive all in itself. And then, you know, just being able to throw you into the game, like, you know, a month and a half after everybody else was pretty impressive as well. What do you think, Brian?
I totally agree. These kids really stepped up and showed their level of commitment and endurance. You know, yeah, I think, you know, maybe they don't admit it, but they're a little tired at the end. But I think it was that elation, the endorphins that kicked in at the end, with that just like, hey, I accomplished that goal that I'd set out. It was fun to see the expressions on their face. And I was really proud of all of them for doing the hand signals and doing the call outs. We were keeping track of our roadkill, everyone we passed.
Nice.
You know, and they were great about on your left. You know, that's how you keep track. Every time you say that, you get 1 point. So yeah, these guys did an amazing pace. I think we averaged 15 to 16 miles an hour.
16 too, is what my computer
But we
said.
got up over 20 at one point on the flats. So these guys were impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, 16.2 is pretty fast for 72 miles. Like they did a really good job.
Yep.
Considering, you know, it was a big major event, and they'd only done one other one, and this one didn't have cookies.
No,
Bummed out.
Maybe we should suggest that.
yeah. So we're gonna we'll do a short break here for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and actually talk a little bit more about this experience. So.
With higher fuel costs comes a shift in how we travel. More of us are choosing to bike or take mass transit for some or all of our trips. When buses, trains, and bikes share the road, it's even more important to practice safe driving and safe riding. TriMet bus operators are trained to watch out for cyclists. You can help by following a few simple rules of the road. At Max and West stations, cyclists are not allowed to ride on boarding platforms or in pedestrian crossings. Walking your bike across the tracks is the safest way to enter or exit the station. Look both ways before crossing the tracks. Trains may be approaching in either direction. Be sure to cross the tracks straight on. It's dangerous to cross at an angle or right alongside the tracks. It can cause your wheel to slip into the track bed and result in a crash. To be safe, walk your bike across the tracks. Visibility is important when you're riding around buses. Always use a front white light and a rear red light at night, at dusk, and at dawn. And remember, buses have blind spots. If you can't see the operator in the mirror, the operator can't see you. Be predictable. Use hand signals when merging, turning, or changing lanes. This helps bus operators make good decisions around you, such as when to pull out from a stop, when to pass you, and when to make a turn. Ride in a straight line and avoid weaving between parked cars or between the sidewalk and the street. Take the middle of the traffic lane if it is narrow, so drivers behind you will know to move to the left lane to pass. The safest place to be around buses is in front of them. Most important, obey signals and signs. Don't ride against traffic or in areas marked bus only. These streets are closed to bikes and other vehicles. Walk your bike on the sidewalk if you need to. Buses and bikes share the right side of the road and often have to weave across each other's paths as buses serve stops. Buses aren't permitted to cross bike lanes to get into a bus stop until the bike lane is clear. If you approach a bus serving a stop, pass on the left. When you see a stop bus with the right blinker or the flashers activated, that means passengers are getting on and off, and you should pass on the left. When a bus is flashing its yield sign, don't pass. Instead, allow the bus back into the center of the lane. You should even stop if necessary. Yield signs allow buses to get back into traffic after they leave stops so they can stay on schedule. If you have a bad experience with a bus or a train, please let us know by calling 503-238-RIDE or email customerservice@trimet.org. Be sure to note the bus line, location, and the time of day. Working together, we can all share the road safely. Your help goes a long way. To learn more, visit trimet.org/bikes.
Thinking about bringing your bike on the bus? It's easy. Here's what you need to know. If you have a compact folding bike, you're welcome to bring it on board. Otherwise, you'll need to load your bike onto the rack on the front of the bus. Most standard size bikes, and even some recumbents, will fit in the racks. Bike racks can fill up quickly during the morning and afternoon rush hour, so be prepared to wait for another bus if there's no space. To be safe, make sure the bus stops completely and get the driver's attention before loading your bike. First, squeeze the handle on the top of the rack and pull the rack forward to lower it. There are slots for 2 bikes. If the rack is empty, just lift your bike and place the wheels in one of the slots. Then, to secure it, slide the metal bar up over your front wheel or fender as close to the frame as possible. Remove any loose items or valuables from your bike. Be sure to remove panniers, child seats, or any object that could block the headlights or the operator's vision. Finally, board the bus and pay your fare. Don't forget your bike. When you're ready to get off the bus, let the operator know that you need to get your bike. Exit through the front door if you can. Again, make eye contact before you step in front of the bus. Slide the metal bar off of the wheel. Then lift your bike out of the slot and fold up the rack. Never cross the street in front of the bus unless it's stopped at a red light. And that's how you bring your bike on the bus.
These days, more and more Portlanders are using pedal power to get around, and a growing number of cyclists are combining their bike trips with transit. If you're planning on bringing your bicycle on Max, here's what you need to know. TriMet only allows single-seat, 2-wheeled bikes on board, or recumbents and electric bikes the size of a standard bicycle. Trailers are not allowed. Bikes are allowed on Max only if there's room, so try to make your trip before or after rush hour. If Max is full, you need to wait for another train. When Max arrives, allow other riders to exit and enter the train first, then walk your bike on board. Inside, look for the signs that show where bikes may be stored. If a vertical rack is available, use that one first. Remember to keep your bike as clean as possible and try not to brush it against others. Always yield the priority seating areas to seniors and people with disabilities. And be sure not to block the stairwells or aisles. If you're on a train with steps at the front doors, bikes are not allowed at the top of the steps. When you practice good bike etiquette, it makes the ride more comfortable for everyone. Happy riding, and we'll see you on board.
All right, we're back with Team Endure. So let's talk a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about general bike maintenance. I assume you know some?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit? How did you learn?
Me myself, I joined, as Rachel said earlier, after we did a lot of the stuff, right before the Reach the Beach ride. So I sort of learned a lot of my stuff as just after we did a ride out by Woodshoe Tulip Farm, just like, all right, how do I get all this mud off my bike? And it's just like learning how to, take off the wheels and like just soap it down with like a sponge and make sure to clean the calipers and the rim of your brakes just so they don't, get a bunch of mud in them, and how to just like clean off your cassette every once in a while. And that's really, I was just looking that up all on the internet just because, I was curious. I was like, yeah, I need to get this clean. And it looks all bright and shiny again.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I was on the team since the second bike ride, so I didn't really miss anything because the first bike ride we weren't really learning anything. We were just practicing our bike riding skills. But on the second ride, I was there. We learned how to change a flat. In the second ride, we learned how to like clean and make chain. And then I learned how to do bike maintenance from one of Rachel's friends. And she taught me and Sam on how to like how to see if there's a problem in our bike, like to see if there's like
To diagnose it.
to like see how or what is wrong with their bike.
Was it easy? Oh, you're doing great.
Yeah.
We're doing great. Now, did you ever actually have to use any of that flat tire repair out on a ride?
Not so far. I mean, I have gator skin, so those
Oh,
are
yeah.
really hard to get off and really hard to puncture too.
Yeah.
So I'm good so far.
That was a smart buy, yeah. How about you? Have you had to use your flat tire repair skills?
Well, the one time I had to was actually I was riding the Banks Fernandina Trail just this last weekend, and we went up there to Substert to do camping, and my tire was like getting this really big bulge in it, so we ended up having to get a new one. It was actually gator skin, but just having to take off my bike tires and replace the tubes and everything when I had to was just how I kind of learned. I already sort of had like ideas like, oh yeah, you put the lever up, but just then just getting to do it a few times, replacing my tire was really just how I learned. Okay, so you just know, okay, what's the tire made of? Like, what's in it? And then you kind of get understanding, oh, okay, so if this part breaks, that's what really matters, and just how to replace that on the road.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's more of a learning as you go, cross that bridge as we come to it,
Oh, that's great. Did you ever have to repair a flat tire when you were out there with them?
Oh, with them?
Yeah.
No, we've been lucky this year. I had to replace my tire because I balded it on the bike trainer this year, which was extra special. But that wasn't on the road. So no, we've been lucky this year. Knock on wood. Yeah. So. Okay. Never mind. Scratch that. I did not do my tire, but I did snap my chain on a hill, which was special. I was going up the hill and I heard this like crash, and I was like, "What's that?" And Arjun goes, "Your train's in the middle of the road." And I was like, "What?" I thought it had just fallen down, and no. So I called the Uber XL and back to the car I went, which was
a little hard to repair your chain on the ride.
very hard to repair.
How did you decide before, as you were going to start doing these rides, how you were going to share with them the basic bike maintenance? Did you do it soon?
Yeah, we did it fairly soon. Like, I have a lot of the biking community, especially here in Portland, is so amazing, and they're so giving, especially the adults that are willing to volunteer and help support and teach the kids. So I've just leveraged my friends. Like, a good friend of mine is a former bike mechanic at one of the popular bike shops. So she does all the work on my bike, and then is willing to, look over. She actually helped us buy Arjun's bike and kind of found it and said, "Here, go get this." And, she has done so much for me. And then, she did like a basic bike repair class with the kids. And then Lumberjack did our flat repair class, and then I think we'll eventually, go back and do a more advanced bike maintenance with my friend Shell. But then we've had other classes, where we did some like bike yoga, learning how to stretch, and stuff like that. We've done, what else have we done? have a physical therapist coming in a
Yep.
few weeks to do like mobility to like open up that sciatica and like that lower area and keep it nice and loose and stretched out. Have we done other classes? I can't think of them right now.
No, I don't think so.
We went to Washco Bikes, kind of saw everything that they did with recycling bikes and reusing them. So if people have bikes that they want to donate that are just old, they'll fix them up for people. So, you know, just teaching the kids just about what's available in the community for them.
Do you have other activities that you enjoy outside of biking?
I really like to go swimming. I'll go swim after school, and yeah, and I also I like reading. I like to read a book every once in a while. It's nice when you have some free time, and just generally like going hiking outside. I really love going in the outdoors and camping, and I just really like being out, waking up in the morning cold in your sleeping bag with all the birds trying to wake you up and the raven poking a hole in your tent.
So that sounds like a story.
But yeah, and I just really like generally being outside, and other than that, and swimming. And
How about you, Arjun?
Well, I like to do anything that has to do with sports. I like exploring new things, finding out new things, like even just asking my friends, hey, what new inventions have been made like this past week, and they'll be like, oh, there's a bunch of cool stuff that has been made, because they always keep up with the news, they're always watching the news while I'm at home doing something. So like I always just ask them, hey, what's going on? And yeah, I just like finding out what's going on around the world. I like soccer, basketball, football, all that's fun for me.
Oh, really? Now, did you find that the biking, the training that you were doing for Reach
Yeah.
the Beach, did it help with some of these other sports that you enjoy playing?
Yeah, it works a lot on leg strength, and a lot of these sports involve leg strength and arm strength. I mean, like soccer, it's all about the legs. Football, I mean, like takes a lot of strenuous activity on the legs, and basketball also. I mean, you need some leg strength for that sport. Yeah.
Do you feel like the biking actually added to some of the other sport-related activities that you've done?
Yeah, definitely. In regards to like things I do, like camping, like it's fun to definitely take a bike, or even like learning about doing bike touring. So I mean, bringing a tent along and just biking through different places and just being outside is a really fun thing. And it gives you a lot of freedom too, because when you're biking, I mean, you can drive along the roads, but you're biking along the roads and you're experiencing everything. It's really awesome, because when you're outside, I mean, it's really different experience when you're outside. And also in regards to other things like swimming, and maybe like trying out doing some like triathlon or something would be a fun thing to do, and like try to explore would be fun.
I thought it was really interesting because everybody except for me that is on our team has been on some kind of swim team.
Yeah.
And so like Brian's like our super Aquaman, and these two have both been on swim teams before, as well as another kiddo that's on our team. And so I think it's really cool that, you know, everybody is not just a biker but a swimmer, and a lot of us are going camping together this summer, and Brian's going to take us out into the open water, and we'll try not to drown. So I'm not a huge open water swimmer. Like if I'm like skiing or something like that, that's awesome. But
Well, could you
otherwise,
share
I prefer the
just a
pool.
little about how you cross-train? It's not all bike, but there's other activities.
Oh gosh, for quite a while I did triathlons, and that was just because I was on a team. It's where I worked, is where the team was, and when I left that job, it wasn't as convenient, so I kind of have given that a big break for like the past 4 or 5 years. But I used to really be into triathlons, and my background is in swimming. I went to the '84 Olympic trials, placed 16th, so they take the top 3. So I really enjoy swimming. But yeah,
That's pretty amazing.
you know, and everyone can run if you've got 2 pairs of legs. Everybody can run. But so I had to learn cycling. It was something that for the first time that I had to rely on something that wasn't built in. It was a machine, right? So I had to figure out how the gears work and how to use the brakes, and what it meant to go uphill. And then it was all the transitions, learning how to mount your bike and get off your bike at all the exchanges was a challenge. And especially transitioning from the bike to the run when you've got those spaghetti legs. What does that feel like?
Yeah,
so yeah,
sounds like fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
yeah. So yes, that'll be the next. We'll do a try it and see what you think. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Hague Lake has one every year. It's a really good event. Yeah.
How about if for other young riders that would see you guys up here, if they're maybe a little afraid to get out there on the bike, or they have a bike but they haven't thought about doing something this big, what would you share with them in this experience?
I would really say that, I mean, it's really awesome to be out here. And I don't think it was a little nerve-wracking. It was like, hey, there's a bunch of people I don't know. I've never met these people. I don't know what they're going to be like. But after the first ride, I was like, wow, this is really cool. Because, I mean, it's just a bunch of people who are going out for a bike ride. And as like a young person who's going out, it's really cool to be able to throw your 2 cents in about doing bike rides and just doing what you want to do. And it's really personalized. So, I mean, it's like if you don't want to do too long of a ride or you want to take it down intensely, yeah, just yell it forward and we'll go a little slower or a little faster. Somebody can break away and go faster or slower. It doesn't really matter. It's really, really great.
So did you ever feel intimidated by the group or
I
just
mean,
the
yeah,
rides?
I have like a bunch of these older guys on the team. I'm the smallest, I'm the thinnest, I weigh the
Yes,
least.
go. This is
I'm just
great.
like, how am I going to keep up to these guys?
We lose them on the downhill.
Yeah.
Where'd Arjun go?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of hard catching up with these guys, but I mean, it gives me a challenge. Catching up to these guys, I mean, it's really fun. I mean, you can't be afraid until you try it. I mean, like, once you start, it's going to be a little challenging to keep up. But then, like, once you get the hang of it, you get the flow, and then, like, you really start liking it, and it's a really fun activity, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
How about, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Did you find that having that sort of physical activity changed potentially how you would operate to do homework or to be in school, having that amount of energy to release?
I think it's really great. I mean, especially like biking to school and back sometimes, it really gives you energy throughout the day. It's really awesome how just doing a bike ride in the morning and coming home from school, it really gives you motivation. It's really another sense about just doing it. It gives you like a sense of calm. It's relaxing to a degree sometimes, unless you're going up a big hill or something. But it's definitely fun to be able to do that every day and making a habit out of it. It sets a good precedent for doing other things in your life, like getting out to bike every day. Okay, it's like, I'm going to do some homework every day after this or something. I mean, that doesn't really happen a lot. I wish it did, but but yeah, it does help set some other goals, and it's something that it's very enjoyable too. So it helps, like, it's an awesome way to get out and do things and be independent and do stuff.
How about you? Did you feel like?
Yeah, I agree with Ben. It really helps clear the mind. Like, sometimes biking before doing homework clears the mind and helps you do your homework better. I mean, biking's always like it makes me feel good whenever I do it. I mean, it's just like a good feeling to be outside biking, if it's good weather. I mean, if it's raining, then that's just sad. But I mean, like, the weather's good, you're biking outside, there's a nice breeze. I mean, it's always fun, and it always helps against other challenges that you're facing at home or at school. Or
How about if there accidents happen, right? And people might be worried about getting on a bike out there on the road. Have you experienced any accidents yourself, and how did you come back from that?
Yeah, it was actually the first ride with these guys, with my clips. I fell over when I was just about to, like, take off because I leaned to one side and I couldn't get my clip out fast enough, and I actually toppled over and scraped my knee. I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to use clips anymore. But then once I kept on practicing with my clips, and once I got the hang of it, I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I mean, mistakes happen, but you can always learn from it.
How about you? Did you experience any accidents?
So far on this bike team, I haven't. Crossed my fingers. Hope it doesn't happen too much. I mean, it is inevitable, and it does. It's always gonna happen at some point. The best thing you can do is try to be careful and learning as a team how to be safe. And in regards to clips, just practicing. After a few rides with clip pedals, you're like, okay, when I stop, I need to get my foot out, otherwise I'm going to fall over. And it's something you have to get in your head, but after a few rides, it really just gets ingrained into your memory, and it's almost like it's second nature after a while. And I did have a few crashes when I was little, but it's something that happens. But I definitely think that going out and having such an awesome time, there's so much more benefit than there is the risk of crashing a few times. And if you're careful, hopefully it's not that bad if you do ever crash, and which you will. But I think it's definitely much more fun, even if you do crash once or twice.
Would you say it's better to get back on as soon as you can to ride rather than stop?
I would say if it's not too bad. I mean, if your leg bone is sticking out, you might not want to pedal
Are you
much
sure?
longer. Well, I mean, if you just want to go one pedal, you might be in a bit of pain, but might be fine. I don't know. But if you have a scratch, it depends on everything, I would say.
Sure.
But yeah, if you need to keep going, I mean, sometimes, hey, you got adrenaline coursing through your veins. I mean, sometimes it might not hurt that much in the ride, it might hurt later. So I mean, if you have maybe a few scratches, you're fine. I mean, I know we've Arjun crashed a few times on a ride, and if it's not that bad, so I mean, we get out and we get up and go. So I mean, it works
great.
out. Yeah.
You just get up and brush yourself off, make sure there's no gravel stuck in your knee, and that one time Arjun had to get out of the nettles that he fell into.
Yes. Ben's little brother came riding with us, who's in 6th grade too, and he fell coming out of the parking lot. And he was sad buddy in the beginning, and I just walked over his parents, and I was like, you done? You ready? Let's go. Everyone's waiting. Keep going. I don't think I even gave him an option of do you want to quit? I was just like, all right, and we're done. Let's go. Same with Arjun. When he fell into the nettles, I was like, okay, you good? Okay, let's go. Anything broken? Okay, let's go.
Riding.
Yeah, keep going.
I love it.
Well, where are you going to go from here? We're in the middle of nowhere.
So what's next? Will this team continue to ride through the summer? And
yeah, as long as they want to. Yeah, it's great for me. It gets me out on the road. It's accountability. It's fun. It's a sport that I enjoy and love. Brian and I are training for a big event in September, Cycle Oregon Classic. And then there's, this is the beginning of cycling season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to get you out there some more, too. Got Wayne out for the first time today, 5:30 in the morning.
But this isn't about me at all. So which is great. How about you guys? Are you excited to do some more rides, some more challenges like you did with Reach the Beach?
Yeah, I think it's really fun, and just overcoming those things. Like with Reach the Beach, you're like, oh, I really did bike that far, and just that feeling of accomplishing something so big when you really think about it is really awesome, and I really love that feeling of just finishing a ride. I mean, even though it's a training day, you're slogging around, you're like, oh, we're going on another one of those rides, but I mean, once you get out there, it's always that feeling always goes away, and you're just outside biking, and it's really awesome to be out there. And I really do hope this team, and I think it will, keep going on and expanding, because it's really awesome to just go out and bike with everybody. It's really fun, and I really do enjoy it.
Do you share a little bit with your friends what you've been doing so they can?
I do sometimes. We went on. Rachel was encouraging me to recruit a few people. We went on a bike ride with a few of my friends. I was like, hey, you guys want to bike? And then they had a old mountain bike that they had in second grade, and I was like, oh, you might not be able to bike 72 miles on that, but but yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun to have people go out there, and it's definitely good encouragement to just go out and ride with people like Rachel said, accountability, just going out. I mean, it's like, oh, people are waiting on me. We got to go out and ride.
Are you excited for more this season?
Yeah, it's always great to up the mileage, and having the sense of accomplishment is always a one-up. I mean, it's really fun to get new experiences on bikes. like new mileage. That's always a new experience. Feelings of pain, suffering.
Suffering, I love it.
Yeah, different weather. That's always a big key to everything. And yeah, just in general, it's a really fun sport to practice. Yeah.
Have you been able to influence some of your friends?
They're like,
I
nope.
love your reaction.
Yeah. I saw actually one time me and Rachel were just biking, and I saw one of my friends there. She's just like, "Oh, I saw that you needed help biking." I'm like, "No." She's like, "Then what were you doing?" I'm like, "I was doing a long ride." She's like, "How long?" I'm like, 15 miles. She's like, "Okay."
Wait, that's how she recruited you?
No, we used to bike even before that.
Okay.
And our families are good friends with Rachel, so we've known her for some time, for a year.
Yeah.
And she actually influenced me into biking because I always bike around the community with my friends, and I always love biking. So
Funny story about his mom. She was getting him into running, and she's like, "You know what? I kind of give up." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because when we're on our long runs, all he's doing is asking about when he can see you and when he can go biking. I've just given up." He wants to go biking. He doesn't want to run. So I'm just going to let him bike.
yeah.
Do many of your friends know that you did reach the beach?
I think so. I mean, I might have. Yeah, I probably do. I was pretty tired, and I was like walking around, like I was like just limping around all day, and my friends were like, "So why are you walking all funny?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I biked to the coast yesterday," and they were like, "Oh," and then left me alone. It was not a very long conversation, but I think people did know. I mean, I'm not sure there's a lot of people who are sort of interested in the whole like bike racing, but I mean, it would be awesome if people do go out with us. I mean, yeah.
One of the things we do to keep it kind of fun is we'll make lots of stops along the way if it's a longer ride. And we love taking pictures over bridges or pictures in certain areas. And so I'm wondering, do you guys ever post those on Instagram? Do you ever put them out there and your friends see them and comment?
I might have done one with the tulip farm once.
Oh.
I'm not sure. I think I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had to get that with the tulip farm behind us,
Right on. I saw that picture, and I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. That was awesome. You guys did great. So thank you, Rachel, Brian, and Ben, and Arjun.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks for joining us on Psychology Today. Northwest Bicycle Safety Council promotes safe riding, and both by obeying the laws and by riding with a level of skill. And you can visit the website at pwtc.com, and that's Portland Wheelman Touring Club, to learn about rides for this year. There are many slow and easier rides to help you test the cycling waters and bring your bike and a helmet. And by riding with others, which we heard about today, you can increase your skill, learn new routes, and learn to ride in groups. Learn about other rides and events and make new friends, so please investigate. And we heard this again today, so this was great. Set some little goals and let other cyclists help you attain them. And don't forget to like us on both Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And thank you very much for joining.